The Democrats want power and they want to keep power. One way to do that is to have a 51st state at it, namely a liberal one, that would give them more votes in the legislative branch and more electoral votes. They deny, however, that President Joe Biden's support of D.C. statehood is to strengthen the liberal control of the government.
And what would he or the White House say to the critics who suggest that this is designed to be a Democratic Party power grab just to get a few more seats in the House and the Senate?
I think he would say that the 500,000 people who live in D.C., am I getting that number right?
A little more than that now.
A little more than, it's grown since I left and went to the suburbs, would argue with that point, and so would he. I mean, he believes they deserve representation. That's why he supports D.C. statehood.
Of course, D.C.'s Mayor Muriel Bowser is also pushing for D.C. statehood. Earlier this year, she released this statement: Washingtonians have waited over 200 years for the representation we deserve as American citizens. And it's not just the residents of D.C. who bear the burden of our disenfranchisement. But now we're ready to finally fix this injustice by getting statehood on President Biden's desk. Dave Krukoff, who leads a movement to retrocede the District of Columbia back into Maryland, explains what could happen with the district if it becomes a state or goes back to being a part of Maryland.
Statehood provides us with what? Access to Article 1 of the Constitution, which is senators and congresspersons. So we can have a congressperson either way. If we're a 51st state, we're 712,000 people. We're one political district, we're 712,000 people. If we're part of Maryland, we're a political district because a district is usually 740,000 people, so we match that. And we are a district and we have a congressperson. Right now, our congressperson for the last 31 years has been Eleanor Holmes-Norton. I don't want to get into term limits, but I'm not a big fan of a congressperson being there for 31 years. So she could become our congressperson. She's 84, by the way. Senators, if we're the 51st state, there are 102 senators. If we are a county in Maryland, there are still 100 senators. We get access to Maryland senators. We vote on Maryland senators. We don't have 2 new senators created. The flag, if the flag has 51 stars, if we're a state, if it's got Puerto Rico to be a state, it's got 52 stars. If we're a county in the state of Maryland, this flag stays at 50 stars. Still, we have access to Article 1 Constitution. The problem is solved, and we go forward.
Krukoff is from D.C., and his family has been in D.C. since the late 1800s. He says the idea of retrocession is not as crazy as it sounds.
This has already happened. 1846 to 1847, the 31 square miles on the Virginia side of the Potomac River that were ceded to the District of Columbia to be the capital of the United States fell back or retroceded, and that worked. That remains the only way the residents of the District of Columbia have ever gained our complete voting rights without moving.
Krukoff does not believe the concept of D.C. statehood will pass in the Senate if it gets through the House.
This is much more of a congressional thing than a presidential thing. So this is in the House of Representatives. This is going to be in the Senate. They can talk about H.R. 1 and they can talk about H.R. 51. They know full well that that is just virtue signaling for their left side of their base. They can create extended expectations with their base, get reelected in the process, and guess what? Their base doesn't get what they want. And so this is a part of them not really caring about results, not really caring about reform, and them caring about getting reelected.
Oh, by the way, if D.C. doesn't become a state, there's also Puerto Rico. Frank McCaffrey reporting for Americans for Limited Government Foundation.